Have you ever wondered if life to be made of something completely different? Not flesh and blood, but maybe rock and crystal? It sounds like pure science fiction, but today we're going on a real scientific hunt for these so-called stone aliens. And we're going to dig into the actual chemistry that might just make them possible. So, to even get started, we kind of have to look in the mirror. Life here on Earth is just unbelievably diverse, right? From things in the deepest parts of the ocean to the tops of mountains. But when you get right down to it, are we really made of the only stuff that could ever work? Well, it turns out every single living thing we have ever found is built from the exact same building block. And that element is carbon. Seriously, you can think of it as the universe's ultimate Lego brick. Its superpower is that it can form four really strong connections at once. That's what lets it build these long, complicated, super stable chains that make up everything from our DNA to our muscles. Okay, now this is where the story really gets good. If you pull up a periodic table and look right below carbon, you'll find another element that looks, well, suspiciously similar. It's silicon. Think of it as carbon's bigger, heavier sibling. And guess what? It has the exact same superpower. So check this out. When you put them head to head, both carbon and silicon can make those four critical bonds you need for complex life. But just look at where you find them. Carbon is in, well, us. Silicon is in rocks, sand, glass, the ground beneath our feet. And here's the real kicker. On our planet, carbon is actually pretty rare. Silicon, it's the second most common element in the entire Earth's crust. And that just raises this massive question, right? If nature usually takes the easiest path and silicon is literally everywhere, why on earth did life go with a much rarer element to build itself? Why aren't we made of sand? To figure that out, we've got to look at the chemistry. See, there was basically a race between these two elements way back when Earth was young, and carbon won. And it won for a few really specific, really important reasons. These are basically the deal breakers that stopped our planet from being overrun with, rock monsters. And the biggest reason, the absolute number one killer flaw for silicon-based life on a planet like ours, it comes down to something we all do every single second without even thinking about it: breathing. Or, more to the point, what we breathe out. And this lays it out perfectly. When our bodies burn energy, we combine carbon with oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. It's just a gas. It's harmless. It floats away. No big deal. But if a silicon creature did the same thing, it would combine silicon with oxygen and it would produce silicon dioxide. That's not a gas. That is, quite literally, sand. Can you imagine trying to survive when every single breath out means you have to excrete a solid crystal? It's a metabolic nightmare. And as if the whole breathing out sand thing wasn't bad enough, silicon has a couple of other major problems here on Earth. Its atoms are bigger than carbon's, so the bonds between them are weaker, kind of like a really cheap glue. Long chains of silicone just tend to fall apart. Oh, and our planet is covered in water. Silicone chemistry hates water. It either reacts super violently or it just turns into solid rock. A silicone creature would literally dissolve in a rainstorm. Okay, so silicon life on a warm, wet planet like Earth, it's a total non-starter. But that doesn't mean it's impossible everywhere. It just means we have to start looking for places that are completely alien to us, worlds where silicon's weaknesses could actually become its strengths. All right, first stop, Saturn's moon, Titan. This place is unbelievably cold. We're talking nearly minus 180 degrees Celsius. There's no liquid water. Instead, it has these huge lakes of liquid methane. Now, in that kind of deep freeze, that weak glue holding silicon together, it would suddenly become way more stable. And a creature there wouldn't be breathing oxygen, so you solve that whole sand problem. It would be a very slow, very cold kind of life, but it's possible. Now, let's swing to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, a furnace world. Picture a giant super-Earth with just crushing heat and pressure. Deep down in the magma, anything made of carbon would be vaporized in an instant. But in those conditions, some scientists think silicon could form these amazing, complex, self-replicating crystal structures. These wouldn't be soft, squishy aliens. They'd be literal living rocks, thriving in a place that would be absolute hell for us. So we've got these frozen methane lakes and seas of magma, but these are still just theories, right? About places that are light years away. It kind of brings us back to a tough question. After all this searching, is silicon life just a cool idea? A fantasy that's stuck in the pages of science fiction books and that's it? Well, maybe not, because the last chapter in our quest takes a turn that I promise you will not see coming. The answer might not be out there in the stars at all. It might be right here, in the world we are building all around us every single day. Just think about this new thing we're creating. For one, it needs energy. It can't do anything without a power source. It literally consumes electricity to function, just like we consume food. It takes in data from the world around it, it thinks, it learns, and it communicates. It's developing a kind of intelligence that is completely and totally its own. And here's the kicker for our story. Its physical body, its brain, its very being. It's all constructed from wafers of purified silicon. You know what I'm talking about. Artificial intelligence. The most plausible form of silicon life isn't some rock monster we're going to find on Titan. It's the AI we're creating right now. And this quote just nails it. We, this fragile carbon-based life, we might just be the biological bootloader, the startup program, for a newer, much more durable stage of life on this planet. So that's really the big takeaway here. We need to totally redefine what we even mean by silicon life. The whole time we've been staring up at the stars, looking for it, the real thing was being built in factories right here on Earth. Think about it. The planet started as silicon rock, it gave birth to carbon life, and now that carbon life is creating the next evolution of intelligence out of silicon. It's come full circle. And that leaves us with one final, pretty profound thought to chew on. If AI really is the silicon-based life we've been searching for this whole time, what does that make us? Are we its creators, or are we its ancestors?